All right, hello everyone, and welcome to the Ventures Podcast. This has been quite the week. In today's episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I know of, at least what Balaji is talking about on the banking system and what might be happening to USD and the Fed. I'm certainly no finance guy, but at least I want to ask some questions and maybe spur some discussion with you if you're listening. And then I want to talk a little bit about all the latest advances in AI, or generative AI, LLMs, and specifically about one prompt that someone did to create some really interesting landing pages. So I have an interesting challenge for you. So before we dive in, if you're listening to this, I'm doing a screencast, so you can visit the link in the show notes to watch the video of this. And if you're watching the video, you can always switch over to podcast anytime. Just search for Ventures in your podcast player, and it should show up. Okay, so here on the screen, Bitcoin is, this is the 6-month chart. Bitcoin is up 50% in the past 6 months. The question is why, what's going on? Obviously, Silicon Valley Bank a couple weeks ago, or who knows what the timing on that was, but things are going so quickly these days, and seem like one day is a whole year here. But with Silicon Valley Bank tanking, and the Fed stepping in to print money, or some controversy over what that means. At least stepping in to guarantee that the depositors are safe and people can access that money. Obviously, in my world as a venture capitalist, things got pretty interesting there for a while. But with the basically the assurance of the Treasury and the FDIC and the Fed that everyone's money was going to be safe, then that definitely calmed things down. Now, not just calming things down, there's no lack of attention being given right now to the reality that there's this deposit window, specifically a discount window where banks are allowed to borrow from the Treasury Department, from the Fed. And again, I'm no finance guy, but just looking at this, this says something. Balaji is convinced, based on betting $1 million, that Bitcoin within the next 90 days is going to be worth more than $1 million each. Is making some serious noise. So independent of what you think about him or his politics, it's definitely something to at least pay attention to and do your own research, come up with your own conclusions about what's going on. But he suspects, along with others, that as much as $2 trillion is going to be injected into the system of U.S. dollars, which he believes is going to lead to a collapse of the U.S. dollar and the economy, and Bitcoin will moon. He has a number of different charts and graphs and explanations for his claim. So I'd encourage you to check that out. Again, what does it mean for venture building? Well, as you know, if you've been listening to this podcast, I've been investing in Web3 since early 2017. I started tinkering around with Ethereum in 2016. This is definitely a time to, at the very least, understand more Web3 narratives and where things might be heading, why Bitcoin is digital gold, why Ethereum and other projects in the Web3 space will also be rising if Bitcoin rises, most likely. And so if you don't have a Web3 strategy for your new startup or your existing startup, I'd recommend getting one pretty quickly, even if it's just a small part of your organization that might be willing to operate as a DAO with a public treasury, with public transactions, with public voting. Maybe you'll have some kind of NFT strategy or fungible token strategy. There's no lack of activity happening in this space, and more legal assurance, especially if you're outside the U.S., but more and more in certain states in the U.S., right? Because Texas just announced that they're pushing the new Bitcoin thing. Shall know by this resolution, the Bitcoin economy is welcome in Texas. Citizens shall always enjoy should always feel free and safe in their own ownership in their ownership and use of Bitcoin in the state of Texas. Anyway, Wyoming is known for this as well. So there's some states, and we'll see how the battle between those states and the federal government with all the election cycle and all that goes. But anyway, as a result of this, I'd highly recommend doing your homework and devising some kind of strategy here. And again, I don't totally understand this graph. I'm just seeing it all over Twitter, but it doesn't look good. Nor does this one. But again, the power of the Fed and what they're up to, way above my pay grade. But I'm certainly going to be spending some more time trying to figure out what's going on and talking to finance people to have a better understanding. Okay, so moving on. FollowMarcos, this gentleman, has done a really fascinating set of prompts. So he prompted MidJourney V5 a beautiful, here's the prompt here, a beautiful landing page for a game with magical theme. There's a magical top nav bar and a gorgeous footer. The landing page also features a beautiful cinematic and magical glowing forest background image. The UI is perfect and beautiful. AR 2:3. Again, that's the aspect ratio. So this is a 2:3 aspect ratio image, and then it pumped out this, which is pretty cool looking. And so here's my call to action to you, the listener. Go and do any of these text to image services that are out there. But if you use MidJourney, I'd like to see you do a prompt. Some people here in the comments, like here's one for a more business landing page. I'd like to see you do some prompts for some cool landing pages. And then here's the kicker. If someone can generate the CSS for this image using some kind of AI, GPT-4 or something like that, that's where we're heading. And that's what I'm watching super keenly. Very interested to know. So yeah, this is going to be a fascinating set of days and weeks and months. The rest of the year here, we'll see if Balaji's right with this 90-day window. We'll see what generative AI is able to do as it impacts venture building and venture investing. And again, I'm always having an eye toward how does this save people time and money to help humans flourish IRL. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your week. Cheers all. All right, a couple quick things before you go. Number one, I have a general newsletter where I write about technology and startups and health science and teaching people to code. And I write about a variety of different subjects that we talk about on this show. So if you go to wclittle.com, there you'll be able to subscribe, and you'll also be able to subscribe to particular topics. If you're just interested in one or a few of them, you'll be notified right when I publish new content in those areas. Number two, my partners and I at Proto Ventures have a portfolio company called Startup Rocket. If you go to startuprocket.com, there you'll be able to receive coaching guides and customize an operations framework for you and your team and your advisors to be on the same page in terms of what is the appropriate next step for you in your entrepreneurial journey. And finally, if you wouldn't mind leaving a review anywhere that you have listened to this podcast or watched this podcast, it would be super helpful to help those who might be interested in consuming this content as well. Thank you.